What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I want to start off with this. The New York Jets have decided to release Le'Veon Bell. This comes not even halfway through a second year with the New York Football Jets. If you guys remember back in March of 2019, talking about March of, over a year ago, not March, the unforgettable March of 2020, but Bell signed a 4-year, $52 million contract at that time. And, since then, last year, there was a lot of disagreements with head coach Adam Gase. Bell came out publicly on Twitter and, said how much he was disagreed with the play calling and that they needed to give him the ball more. They tried to make a trade, and there was no takers for Le'Veon Bell, which was kind of crazy. They couldn't get a seventh-round pick for him. But this is just an example of good organizations, bad organizations. The Pittsburgh organization is a good organization. They know when a move needs to be made and when a move should not be made. And moving on from Le'Veon Bell turned out to be, not too bad. They knew what they had in James Conner. They knew they had a solid player. They knew they had a guy that could pound the rock. And they knew not to overpay for Le'Veon Bell. And the Jets made that mistake. It's a poorly run organization. Had a lot of money tied into Le'Veon Bell. Also had a lot of money tied into C.J. Mosley. And he chose to opt out for this 2020 season. And it's really shown the Jets have really struggled. And, Le'Veon's going to end his career as a Jet with 863 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns in just 17 football games. And it's interesting where he's going to land. There's a lot of teams that don't necessarily need a running back. I think the 49ers are in that discussion. The Bears. I think the 49ers would be a good fit because Shanahan can get him involved in the passing game and will know how to use him a variety of different ways. That offensive line schematically is a good run-blocking offensive line. And also I think he'd be a good complement to the other backs they have. And, even in Chicago, I think he'd be a solid compliment to David Montgomery. And, I can just picture him in that Bears uniform. And I think he could help the Bears win some football games. Could be a good check down guy for Nick Foles. And so it'd be interesting to see moving forward with Le'Veon Bell. But it didn't work out with the Jets, and it makes you really wonder if Le'Veon Bell's career is really over, if he's, over the hill as far as, age and if his prime is up. But, Le'Veon Bell, several good years in Pittsburgh. It's, can't really argue that. I think it was it 3 or 4 1,000-yard seasons, dealt with a lot of injuries in that time. But, Pittsburgh had a great offensive line, and that's when they had Antonio Brown and Big Ben, the Killer Bees, and they could stretch the field and, created some running lanes for Le'Veon Bell. But so next I want to transition into this. In life, there's always usually an obstacle for people in whatever it is. And to get to the top of the mountain, there's usually an obstacle involved, and that goes for, a lot of college football teams if you look in the past decade. For Nick Saban early on at Bama, it was Florida. If you remember back to that time, 2007, Alabama had an okay year. They made a bowl game, lost to Utah. The following season, 2008 against Florida, they lost in the SEC championship, and it looked like Florida was clearly the better team, and Florida was kind of like the burden and the team they would need to get over the hump and beat if they wanted to win the SEC and compete for a national title. They, lost pretty handily to Tebow in Florida and the historic 2008 Gator team. And next season came back and won it. And from then, it's just been history. Alabama has rolled. Haven't really had a big challenger in the SEC, somewhat here and there, LSU and, Auburn a few times. It's been occasion, but for the most part, they haven't really had the foe. Their foe now has been Clemson nationally. But, point being, for Ohio State, it was Michigan for a long time in the John Cooper era in the 90s. And, for Clemson for a long time, it was Florida State, and they finally got over that hump. And now we're a national power. Now I really have a competitor in the ACC. Georgia is still trying to get over that hump of beating Alabama and trying to get to where they want to be. You've seen Georgia the last few years. Their recruiting classes have just been unbelievable. Number one class, number two classes the past few years. And you've seen the last two meetings. Georgia's been very competitive. Last meeting coming in the 2018 SEC championship game, where Georgia was, ahead early, and then the Jalen Hurts heroics ended up coming just short. And then the college football playoff national title, they had Bama on the ropes, and Tua came in and really worked his magic and got them a win. But it's this is a game they need to win if they want to be at the top of the mountain nationally. Georgia is one of those teams that's always in that, the playoff discussion, which is very impressive because that's basically a select group of teams that are in the college football playoff discussion each year. But, this is a year where I'd say, Alabama is, a little bit, Georgia is really on the radar this year. The way they played against Tennessee, that pass rush is scary. Like I said, this is a Georgia team that is, keeps just compiling talent. And sooner or later, this could be a team that, takes over the SEC. But, first things first, it starts Saturday with a win over Bama that could really just get Georgia on its path to a national title season. And with their recruiting classes, they could really have one of these memorable years, like Florida State 13, Florida 08, Alabama 2015, Alabama 2011, 12. Where you're looking back on it, you're just like, holy crap, all those recruiting classes added up, and you had just a team that turned out to have a bunch of, All-Americans and a bunch of guys that went on and just balled out in the NFL. But the thing is, Mac Jones is not very mobile. So I think the pass rush is so key for Georgia in this game because Bo Nix was on the run the entire game when they played Auburn. Mac Jones, if you get him moving around in the pocket and get him uncomfortable, that's going to be a key for the Georgia Bulldogs to have a chance in this. And obviously stopping Najee Harris is going to be key. But, Saban's getting a little bit older, and Kirby Smart has really built this team like how Saban built Alabama. And they are, they're a hungry. You can see them just getting hungrier and hungrier. And I'm really looking forward to this. Nick Saban, the new breaking news, is diagnosed with COVID, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if he'll be able to coach from the sidelines, if they'll make him coach from the booth, if he'll have to coach at home. It'll be interesting to see. But, Stetson Bennett needs to be great in this game. You've seen over the years that it takes, a quarterback having an exceptional, not just exceptional, but a great game to beat Alabama. Manziel, 2012, Tim Tebow, 2008, Trevor Lawrence, 2017. It takes an exceptional game out of a quarterback to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Patrick Surtain versus George Pickens, that'll be a great wide receiver cornerback matchup if you want to key in on that while you're watching. And I'm curious to see how Alabama stops the run. I think that'll be a key for them to get the victory Saturday night. Because, Georgia they're going to want to do what they do. They still like to run the ball. They're going to want to try to set up play action. And for Bama to have a shot, they're going to have to take away the run and, keep, likely want to make Stetson Bennett throw the ball, but he's proven that he has. So, Surtain and some of the corners are going to have to really hold up. And you really want to see how the Bama defense recovers after not really so hot of a game against Ole Miss where they gave up quite a bit of points. So looking forward to the game Saturday. It should be a great one. 8 p.m. on CBS at Alabama. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that game. So thanks for tuning in to this episode, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for more clips from the show. Till next time. Peace.